Hi guys, it's Tai Bender here, and today I'm going to show you a technique with stamping where you can emboss and then use that as a resist for a watercolor piece. I've been working in my house on putting a gallery wall in my living room, and I have lots of pieces of artwork to hang up, but I like to have everything all ready for the wall before I get everything hung up so I can have a real good idea of what I have and what I want it to look like. So I've been collecting and creating, and today I'm going to show you this little watercolor technique just for a little piece of art for my wall. So what I have done here is I picked out some of my favorite neocolors, water-soluble wax pastels. These are like watercolor crayons. They're my favorite paints, and these are some individual colors that I picked up at Blick's. You can buy them one piece, individual pieces at Blick's. That's the only place I know that you can buy them like that. And what I've gone ahead and done is I have used these super fun stamps from my store, from the Growing Meadows shop. These are a marquee alphabet set. This is a nice big 6x8 set. You can see it's a lot bigger. This is a standard 4x6 set that I sell, so nice big alphabet set here. And I'm also going to be using the heart from the little add-on set that has numbers and a few shapes on it. I have already went ahead and started on this page, and I'm going to show you what I did. First, before I use embossing powder, I like to rub down the paper that I'm using with a dryer sheet. This is just a regular dryer sheet. This helps hold down a little bit on the static to try to keep your embossing powder only sticking to the sticky part. You still are going to have some flyaways, but it does help a little bit reduce that. And I went ahead and did the rubbing down, and I already have stamped this with the clear Versamark ink, and you might not be able to see it in the film, but basically that's like a gluey ink, so when I dump on the embossing powder, you're going to be able to see that it sticks. So we'll go ahead and do that now. And I am using this Ranger embossing powder. It's a nice fine one, and it is copper is the color. I believe I bought this at Paper Source. And since it is sort of a metallic, it's going to give us a nice, fun, foily look, which is super popular right now. So you can see I just dumped that all over my gluey text. And now I'm going to just dump that right off onto a clean sheet of paper. And you can see that there is a little bit on the page here. But for the most part, it didn't stick too badly because of that dryer sheet that I rubbed on there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to finish brushing this off, and then I'm going to use my heat tool to go over the powder, and that will emboss it, and I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I come back. Okay, I'm back, and you can see that this has turned a nice coppery metallic finish. It looks like foil even though it's not, and so when you run your finger over it, you can feel that it's embossed from the page. What happens with this embossing powder when you add heat from the heat tool, and I had someone ask, and you do need to use a heat tool like this. You cannot use a hairdryer. It will not get hot enough. This is definitely different than a hairdryer. It's hard to explain it if you've never used one. It's almost like it doesn't blow much air at all. It really just blows out heat. And it is extremely hot, so you want to be careful with that as well. So when you are drying it, you flip it on, and you want to keep it moving, and you don't want to get it too close to the paper because it will burn the paper. It is very hot. And you'll start to see the powder kind of change into this plasticky finish that you get. And it's very easy to do. I just didn't want you to have to hear the thing blowing and making all kinds of racket while I was doing that. So it is instantly ready to use. This is, I think I forgot to say at the beginning, this is watercolor paper, and we're going to be watercoloring today. So this is a technique I like to use for watercolors. I just have my water here, and this fancy brush, which actually came from IKEA, and I have some paper towels. And I am just going to go ahead and get the page nice and wet. And I don't want the color to be all over the page. You kind of want to get your water just where you like the color. And you go right over top of that embossing. And I'm kind of going for an artisty brushed edge. So go ahead and get it nice and wet. I'm going to go the same direction with the water just so I know my brush marks are all moving the same way. And you just kind of want to saturate it a little bit so the water is almost floating on the top of the page a bit. And then I'm going to start with my lighter pink here, my lightest color. And I just love pink and gold. You can see here that the color just gets picked up right on the brush, and see it's just dripping down there, and that's okay too. And we're going to see a little bit of warping in this page, and you can fix that when you're all done with your art. So when you just drop that down onto the water, the color is only going to spread where the water is. And you can see you can paint right over top of this. It is plasticky, so no color or water will stick to the embossed finish. So I'm just going to go ahead and get down some of the lighter color. And I'm not doing this in any particular way. I just happen to like these colors, so I am going to just let them land wherever they fall and get a nice watercolor effect on the paper. And they kind of move around in that water that we laid down at the beginning. Then I'm going to go to the next color, which is just a little bit darker, and you can really do this in whatever order you want. There's no real rules here. It's however you want it to look. I think I'm going to use a lot more of the dark color, but I just wanted to get down some of the lighter shades. And if you don't want your paper to be warping while you're working on it, you could always tape down the corners with a masking tape or washi tape, something that will peel off easily. And that makes it a little bit easier and flatter to work on. If you need to add a little more water to the paper or the brush, and you can see that it's just kind of splatting down while I touch the brush, and I think that's very beautiful as well, so just add a few little splatters around. All right. If you find that your page is drying out anywhere you can't, go ahead and add some more water. And now I'm going to move on to my third color, the darker pink. And this is kind of a color that I want to be a little more prominent. You can see how very easy the paint just comes off on the brush with these neocolors. It's and this is just a richer, this one is raspberry red. Nice fun pink shade. And I love pink. If you've been hanging out for a while, you probably figured that out because it's just one of my favorites. I use it everywhere. So you just kind of want to keep adding layers of color here. Many colors as you like to use, however artistic you want it to look. And get color off of your brush on the paper towel if you feel like you have too much. You can also take color off with the paper towel since the page is so wet. If you were to dab it up, it would suck up quite a bit of the color. Like here, I feel like it's a little wet, so just soak up a little of that. Kind of keep the color contained where I want it to go. And I think I'm going to add some splatters like we did with the previous color. Alright, so soak up a little bit of that where it's getting a bit muddy. And you can see here I've gone over this a lot of times and the paint is not covering up the metallic-y shade there. And then you can add in other colors. You can use bunches of colors. This technique works. Actually, let's see, add a little bit more on the edge here. There we go. And if you want it to run a little farther, you could just add some more water down here, and the paint will run wherever you let the water go. So add just a few more splashes of pink. And after this, you can either just let it sit and dry like this, or you can go ahead and dry it with your heat tool. So I went ahead and I used my heat tool to get this all completely nice and dry. And you can see the metallic-y part is still very shiny and metallic-y. The paint did not stick to it. And it is a little warped. What I'll do is I'll just keep this between some flat, heavy books for a while, and it will flatten it back out. You can try to carefully go over it with an iron, like your regular clothes iron. I wouldn't iron over top of the embossed part though. I'm not sure if that will melt or get yucky on your iron or whatever. But I will let this flatten out, and it will turn into just a cute piece of art to hang on my wall. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this. And watercoloring is so easy and forgiving to get just a little bit of punch for your wall, just like this. And don't forget to stop by the Growing Meadows Etsy store and pick up some of the cute stamps. Thanks, bye-bye.